All right, let's look at number 40. It says we want to find the domain and range of f of x. So first off, let's find the domain and range of this function. So if you think about f of x equals the square root of x plus 2. If you want to find the domain of these guys, remember you can't take the square root of a negative. So you say x plus 2 is greater than or equal to 0. That makes this part of the radical positive. That's why I say greater than. I can take the square root of 0, so I'll put the equal to's on there. Minus 2. X must be greater than or equal to negative 2. So the domain here would be x has to be greater than or equal to negative 2. So there's all the numbers that are greater than or equal to negative 2. Range. So what are all the values you want to get out of this? Well, if you think about all the inputs, if I start at negative 2 plus 2 is 0, right? And the square root of 0 is 0. So the output of 0 would be the starting of your range. And then negative 1, if I put negative 1 in, negative 1 plus 2 is 1, and square root of 1 is 1. If I put a 0 in, square root of 2, and then if I put a 3 in, a 1 back in, I get the square root of 3. If I put a 2 in, I get a square root of 4. If I put a 3 in, I get a square root of 5. So basically, I'm going to go from 0 to positive infinity, including 0, because if I plug negative 2 in, I actually get the square root of 0. Now graphically, remember this is the square root of x. And the plus 2, remember what the plus 2 under the radical is going to do? It's just going to shift that back 2 spots. So that's all this is going to do is shift it back 2 spots. So the range I didn't move the graph up or down any, so the range didn't change. But now I did shift it back 2 units, so that gets the domain. Now let's find the inverse of this function. Let's find the inverse function, is what it says to find. Find the inverse function. So you start with the function, change that out to a y, switch the x and the y, and then solve for y again. So to get rid of the square, you have to, the square root, you have to square both sides, and then I subtract 2 from both sides. Okay, so my inverse function is x squared minus 2. Now what's the domain of this? Part C asks what's the domain and range. Well, the domain is the range of the original. And then the range of the inverse is the domain of the original. I don't know if I said that correctly. Let me say it one more time just to make sure. The domain of the inverse is the same as the range of the original function. And the range is the same as the domain of the original function. There's how we find the domain and range of the inverse function.